Welcome, and this week on Foods with Flavor, we're making my version of America's favorite Chinese food, General Tso's chicken. Welcome back. So it's been raining here for like 2.5 weeks. I really wanted to cook something outside. That's not going to happen. So today I'm going to be showing you my version of General Tso's chicken. And so this is a little bit different. It's sort of a combination of General Tso's, an orange chicken, and a sesame chicken, all combine those flavors. So it's definitely more spicy and got a much more of a kick to it. So one of the big differences is how we're going to fry the chicken. We're not going to do it once, but we're going to do it twice. So the reason you want to fry chicken twice is to keep it crispy. If you just fry chicken once, especially after you put a sauce on it, it's going to start to become soggy. So by frying it twice, will make it like extra crispy. So it will still have that fried texture to it, even with the sauce on top of it. So if you give me a second, I'll show you how it's done. So the first thing to do is actually cook the rice. The rice takes the longest to cook. So I'll usually start that before anything else. So you need to wash rice. So rice is full of starch. And as you can see, as I pour this water in here and start to mix it up, the water will become from kind of a clear translucent to almost a milky white. So we want to keep washing the rice, and it takes about 10 times of mixing it up and pouring it out until the water, even after you mix it up, is basically stays clear. So once it's pretty much clear like this, you know you're done. Then you want to transfer the rice to a pot, fill it up with water, bring it to a boil, and then reduce it down to a simmer. You'll notice here that I'll only put the lid part way back on so steam can escape. And do not mix the rice. The next step is we're just going to trim the fat off the chicken thighs. And so I didn't spend lots of time sitting here having you watch me cut fat off chicken thighs. So basically just work your way around the meat, cut off as much as you want. And then you're going to take those 4 chicken thighs and you're going to trim them into pieces. So around 1 inch by 1 inch should work good. So if you want a little bigger, make them a little bigger. And there's no reason for this recipe to use chicken thighs. If you want to use breast meat, that would be fine as well. You can really use whatever you want. So if you feel like using white meat, go ahead, use chicken breasts instead of chicken thighs. So once we have this kind of all cut up, the next thing we're going to do is just kind of marinate this meat. So here I'm adding 2 cloves of garlic and about a half a teaspoon of ginger, some soy sauce, a little sesame oil, and this sesame oil that you're going to see in here is actually a hot infused sesame oil, and then mirin, which was before, and I just added a little bit of that. So we're going to mix that up and then stick that in the refrigerator. At least 2 hours. I usually just do it overnight. So the next step is I have a hot pan and I'm adding some canola oil to it. So I'm just spreading that oil around since the pan's already hot. And I'm going to add my onions, and I've also got 4 peppers. I got these at an Indian store. You can also get them like chili de arbol as well. So any sort of Asian hot pepper that's dried. By cooking them in the oil is what makes the food really hot. If you do not want the food to be as hot, don't put them in at this point. Put them in a little bit later. So there I also added a little bit of salt to sweat the onions as well. So if you want stuff to be hotter, you can add more. So once I've kind of got the onions cooked to the point where I want them, and I'm not trying to totally brown them, I'm adding red peppers. And so I'm just going to quickly saute those red peppers. And after that's done, The next step, I'm going to add 2 more cloves of garlic and about a half a teaspoon of fresh ginger. And so I'm going to mix that up. I don't want to burn the garlic, so this is kind of quick. I'll just kind of stir it around. And then I'm going to start adding the other ingredients. So here I'm adding broccoli. You don't have to add broccoli. You can add any other vegetable. You can just eliminate it as well. So you don't want to add the broccoli too soon because it will become too soft. So just before that, I added about a 1/4 cup of chicken stock. The next ingredient I'm going to add is about a tablespoon of soy sauce. Here I'm adding about a 1/4 cup of black vinegar, which is really the key ingredient. Then I'm taking 1 whole orange and I'm squeezing the juice of the orange into the mixture. And so that's 1 whole orange and I'm just squeezing it with my hand. Obviously these don't have seeds in them. You could use orange juice, but fresh squeezed orange juice is much, much better. So this is hoisin sauce. I added about a teaspoon of hoisin sauce. And then this is just regular sesame oil and about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of sesame oil. And then I'm adding sugar to taste. And so basically now I'm just going to mix this up. It doesn't really need to cook or incorporate. Once I've got that mixed up, I'm going to add either cornstarch or potato starch to thicken the sauce up. So there's the cornstarch. I'll quickly stir, let that simmer for a second, and the sauce is done. You can take that off the heat and set that aside. So the last step here is I have a cast iron pan and I put about 1/2 inch of canola oil into the pan and brought that up to about 325 degrees. Now I've taken the chicken and I added an egg white, 1 egg white to it, and I stirred it up. And then I just kind of dipped and rolled the chicken in cornstarch. You can use potato starch, tapioca powder, or not powder, tapioca starch, any sort of a starch. And then I'm frying it. And this is the first fry. So I'm just lightly getting this to a lightly golden brown. And then I'm going to flip the chicken. The tongs I had were huge, so I switched over to a fork. So it doesn't really matter, whatever you can flip this stuff over with. And you can see, so the chicken is not really a dark golden brown, it's a light golden brown. And cook that on both sides. Once that's cooked, I'm going to take it out, just quickly drain it. I put it in a bowl with some paper towels and set that aside. So I did this in 2 batches, so I didn't have too much chicken in the heat. So after I cooked the second batch, I put all the chicken back into the fryer again, and this is running at about 350%, so I know it's fast. And I'm cooking the chicken for the second time, and this is what makes it crispy. So if you just fry it once, it becomes soggy in the sauce. So once I've kind of got this to a nice golden brown, I'm pulling this out, putting it off to the side, and I'm done with the frying part. So the last step here is to just incorporate the two. So I'm just literally pouring the sauce that I made over top of the chicken. I grabbed the spatula and then I'm just going to slightly toss that, and it is ready to go. And you'll notice when you see this that the chicken doesn't become soggy like in a traditional General Tso's sauce. So here I've taken the rice that I've cooked and I just have this little kid's cup. If you smash it in there hard, it will make a little form. It looks nicer. So I'll put that in the center of the bowl and then just spread the mixture around it. So nothing super fancy. After that, I'm just going to garnish that with some green onions. So I hope you enjoy it. If you want a copy of the recipe, I'll have that posted below in the directions. And please leave any comments. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on social media, and click on the link below to see a recommended video.